Welcome back to Building with Boba. Today we're going to be making a cookie cutter. I'll be demonstrating one of a Star Wars design, but you can basically make it however you like. So, first thing I'm going to do before actually making a document is looking up a picture I want to kind of copy. So, I'm going to be using this one. However, you could basically use anything. Just make sure it's easiest if it's like a black and white photo and it's a solid item. Let me show some examples of cookie cutters so you can see. Oops. So all of these examples of a cookie cutter are of a solid shape. If you may try to make something out of letters or something, it would not work at all. The cookie would kind of be destroyed. You can see it better from here. Ignore the colors because that's just frosting, but you can see it's just one solid object. There's no holes in it or anything like that. Otherwise, the cookie wouldn't show up right. Of course, if this wasn't a cookie and you're trying to make like a, what's it called? An ice cube template or whatever, you might be able to ignore those issues, but simply put, the cookie cutter would not work unless it was just a solid object. You could also have it like small inlays or stuff, like you can see here, if you know what I'm talking about, but you can do that on your own. That's not what I'm going to show in this lesson, even though you could basically use this lesson to do it. Not much added steps. And here's some examples of 3D printed ones. This one's really complicated. We're not going to be making something like that or that. Something like this cactus would be more realistic of something we would be doing in this lesson, or this fox thing. Anything like this Superman symbol is still possible, but we're not going to show it in this lesson. Okay, enough with showing what we are and what we aren't going to do in this lesson. I'm going to just look up one. Instead of doing that Star Wars one, I'm going to do a Batman one. And always look at PNGs, and black and white would be preferred. Okay. I'm going to use this one from the classic Batman show I used to watch. Save image. I don't really think it matters whatever. This is an HTML, so that's not it. Did I save it properly? Save image as. Still saying it's HTML text, so I don't think this is an actual image. I'll use a different one that will work. There we go, PNG image. It downloaded. Okay. Now I'm going to say okay. And in the bottom left corner, you'll see a plus button. I press it, press import, and I'm going to import it in. There we go. That's the one. And then I'm going to just press this X button to make it go away. Top plane, view normal 2, of course. New sketch. And you'll see this button up here. It says insert DXF or whatever. Press the down arrow and select image. And you should see your image right there. If not, you can press this upload or import button right there. Or you can search your other documents to see if you have any images you want to use from there. Now it says draw image rectangle. What that means is just basically scale. For some reason Onshape doesn't work the way I'm used to with another software that I most likely or more commonly use. But I can't figure out a way to rescale it after the fact. besides maybe using Dimension Tool. So make sure you scale it however you want beforehand. Okay? And I'm going to make a new sketch now. You'll see why. Actually, let me explain why I'm making a new one instead of a second one. It's just easier to kind of see and edit if I needed to. Kind of not really great explanation, but that's the best I can explain it in my own words. Okay, so we have used quite a lot of these tools up here. By this point, you've used the line, rectangle, circle, possibly the tangent arc, possibly the inscribed polygon, and the text words. Now, what we haven't used are the tangent arc and the spline. And the point. Point's not very useful. So, the one I'm going to be using the most in this one is a spline. A spline is kind of like a curved line, or just a, yeah, it's just a curved line that's pretty easy to modify. Now, unfortunately, this Batman symbol only has one flat line, so it's not very easy. So I'm just going to draw this flat line from here to here, kind of just copying what it's doing, the outline of this. And then we have two big arcs. An arc, if you know, is basically just a portion of a circle. We will test it, but I don't think this arc, we could use an arc for these big areas, just because it's non-symmetrical. And if you drew out this the rest of the circle, it'd be coming out as like oval, not a circle. So the arc will not work. Let me demonstrate. The arc, you just put. I have a tangent arc selected right now. There's also the 3.1. Actually, let's use the 3.1. So you'll select your first point, your second point, and then your third point is basically move your cursor this or that to make this point. But as you can see, it won't line up properly. So I'm going to press escape and use the spline tool. Spline tool, kind of similar. You select the first part, select the second part, and then I'm going to press the escape key. Obviously, this is a straight line. I don't want that. So, I basically, oops, just drag out these 2 points. Sometimes it acts kind of funny, which is why it's a bit annoying to do this process. And I guess that's why I'll show a different way to do this, since it's annoying me too. So I'm going to just delete that thing. Okay. Easier if you just make it smaller points, not too far away from each other, just kind of dropping these points along the surface. Then once you hit like a turning point, like a large angle change, you press the escape and select it again. Just select it, and this is a bit tedious, but it's probably the best way to do this. Once you have a big curve again, you want to press escape. In playing around with it, you'll see kind of how it works. It's really hard to describe. Hopefully using a tablet or something will have a better experience with this since it's a touch screen, but I don't know. Whoops, what did I click? Okay, almost through. And this is why you might want to choose a simpler one, like that one I was showing right at the beginning. I should have just stuck with that one. But oh well. I've been doing this quite a lot, so I don't really make too many mistakes now. But you probably will make mistakes, so just use the undo key. Okay, final 2 points. Spline. Oh, and there's 2 options, spline and spline point. I don't really use a spline point, I just use spline. But play around with it and see how it goes. Draw this line. And if there's only 2, if it's from one point to another point, and not continuing that line, this little thing shows up. If I zoom in, there's 2 dragging points. Oops. Kind of finicky, but play around with it and see if you can get it to work the way you want. And last point, from here to here, escape, and let's drag that thing out. Oops. Okay, now we finally got this entire thing. One last step. Unfortunately, I can't use this offset tool. It's not letting me do it. So the easiest way for me is to basically make it an outline. I have to draw like a slightly bigger version of this drawing, but it doesn't let me do it properly. It really depends on the shape. If this was like a circular shape, I'd just do a circle. But let's see what options. Ellipse, that'll probably work the best. So let's see what it says for ellipse. Hover over it. Okay, create an ellipse. Click to indicate the center point, click to indicate the major axis, and click to indicate the minor radius. Okay, simple. So I select the center point and kind of just do that. Okay, first I'm going to undo this and restart it with a slightly lower radius or center point. And excellent. Now that looks kind of like the Batman symbol. Actually, it is a Batman symbol. But yeah. Final step, extruding, like always. We just select here. Oops. Something's not working correctly. Let me go back to sketch 2 and see what's going on. Okay, so right here, you can see that these two lines aren't touching. Obviously, you can't have a shape with two of its sides not touching, so I just need to fix that by connecting those two lines. I should have been more careful there. That's going to cause a huge error. I'm just going to quickly go around the shape and see if there's any more of that happening. Whoops. I must have clicked something. Something is going on. What's going on? Today I'm using my trackpad, not too used to it. So some might click on things incorrectly. Okay. Places to make sure that you've done things correctly are at points where there's big angles where you started a new spline. Shoot, I did that again. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, I found another one right there. Connect them with the line tool. Okay, let's see right there. Okay, once that was all of them. Once it is correct, you should be able to click on the middle of the shape and it highlights in orange. If it's not doing that, that means one of your lines was not correctly connected. Okay, finally. Now we can end this sketch and extrude. Click on the outside. And you'll see this hollow thing. We're going to hide sketch 1 without the image. And that's our cookie cutter. There's kind of only one final step. I don't really know if it's needed. That's how my cookie cutters are, and it seems correct, so I'm going to just do that. So, real quickly, I'm going to offset this thing, this oval, just slightly. And unhide sketch 2. Click that outer edge and extrude it just a tiny, tiny bit. I don't know why cookie cutters have it, but there's this little edge to the top of them. I don't know if it's just mine or what. But there, that's my cookie cutter. It did take way longer than usual, but this is a more complicated project. There's tons of lines. It's not always symmetrical, and tons of other difficulties. Plus, we learned a lot of new tools today. Or actually, just one new tool, but a very interesting, complicated tool. And of course, if you do 3D print this, there are issues to using 3D printed objects as house tools. One thing to remember is this plastic that 3D prints are made out of melts at a really low point, so you cannot put them in the dishwasher. Other than that, I'm not really sure on the safety precautions using 3D printed objects in cookware, but I do know that my school used to sell these, so it is safe. Just double check on the other safety tips. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.